Thank you. Ms. Manning, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to address the idea that Congress should impede students from accessing fields of education that some may deem unprofitable, an idea that has been raised both at this hearing and during other hearings held by this committee. In fact, the proposed Responsible Borrowing Act, for example, would allow colleges to limit the amount of federal loans a student can borrow based on factors like the average salaries for program completers and what programs students choose. And there's been an enormous emphasis from some on this committee that taxpayer dollars should only be used for students to attend programs that give them tangible job skills to make sure they are employable after they graduate. And I'm concerned that this attitude supports the devaluation of a liberal arts education. Mr. Horn, what kind of undergraduate degree did you get?
I received a history major.
An undergraduate history degree from Yale, I believe, and you seem to be gainfully employed. Did that liberal arts degree give you tangible job skills?
You bet, and this is why I think that liberal arts, frankly, we've over-indexed at colleges in having students opt not for the liberal arts in many cases.
And Mr. Leshley, what kind of undergraduate degree did you get?
Comparative literature degree
from
Princeton.
A BA in competitive literature from Princeton. Did that give you tangible job skills?
Maybe.
Did it help you get your JD and your MBA from Harvard?
Maybe.
At least it got you accepted there,
fair
didn't
enough,
it?
yes.
Okay. And Dr. Cellini, what kind of undergraduate degree did you get?
A public policy degree.
A BA in public policy from Stanford. And did that give you tangible job skills?
Yes, it did.
Thank you. And Dr. Gillen, now you got a degree that some people might assume gave you tangible job skills because you got a BBA in business. Is that true?
That is correct.
Even though it was from the Ohio State University.
Yes, the.
Okay, so I think we have at least 3, maybe 4 examples of people who got liberal arts degrees that stood them in good state, and you all seem to be gainfully employed. So don't we want good students from poor families to have some of the same fulsome liberal arts education that each of you got? Dr. Cellini, would you agree with that?
Yes, I would agree with that.
Okay.
That access to high quality programs is very important.
Great. Now, Pell Grants, when they were first enacted, covered 70 to 80% of the cost of college. Yet today, Pell Grants cover only around 30% of the cost of college. So this means that students on Pell Grants today have to piece together a variety of loans, some subsidized, some non-subsidized. They often have to work sometimes 20 hours a week to afford college. That can certainly impact a student's ability to take a full course load and graduate in anything close to 4 years. So, Dr. Cellini, would increasing the Pell Grant to keep pace with inflation or even doubling it, would that be an effective way of helping students who have no family financial support succeed in college and perhaps even graduate in 4 years?
I think expansions of the Pell Grant to keep pace with inflation and costs of tuition would be really important for students to be able to access high quality education.
And I want to take a moment to highlight the proposed budget cuts being made by my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, which have historically served to address skyrocketing costs of education. We're discussing cutting, fully eliminating the federal work-study program, federal supplemental educational opportunity grants, child care access means, parents and school program grants. The current budget proposal would slash funding for the Office of Federal Student Aid, and of course it goes without saying it would not double or help the Pell Grant keep pace with inflation. So, Dr. Cellini, do you think that cutting these programs would make it more difficult for students with no family financial assistance graduate from college?
Yes, it would make it much more difficult for students to afford college.
Now, we've heard a suggestion that we could impose a system of risk sharing on colleges. And I'm wondering what changes you would expect a college to make if they were going to share the risk of a student graduating and getting a good job. Would you expect, for example, colleges, and Dr. Cellini, I'll stick with you, would you expect colleges to implement a better and more accountable counseling program for students?
I'm not entirely sure how risk sharing would change their behavior, but I don't think taxpayers should fund low-performing programs, even if there's risk sharing.
Dr. Gillen, I think you're the one who mentioned risk sharing. What kinds of changes would you expect a high-quality college to make if they were to take on this risk-sharing opportunity?
I think the best example of the behavior that we'd see from colleges is what happened at Texas State Technical College, which is they focus very clearly on whether or not the programs that they're offering provide students with valuable careers. And so
you don't think that a lot of students could benefit from things like better counseling?
Ms. Manning, your time is up, and you keep asking questions.
I apologize. I yield back, and I would love to get answers to that question, perhaps in writing.